Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And with winter fast approaching, one of the things to consider having in your vehicle or accessible is some sort of a boost pack that allows you to start your car if your battery's low or dead, or of course somebody else's. Now I've got a couple of them here I was going to talk about. This is a real popular one, this NOCO or NOCO Boost Plus. This sells for about $100 on Amazon. Traditional features such as a light. They all should have some sort of light because generally you're needing a light when you need to boost the battery. Some sort of a battery indicator. In this case you can see this one's fully charged. A lot of them also have the USB out. This is a USB-A that allows you to charge a device like a phone. That's always helpful. Something I would highly recommend is a traditional USB mini or USB-C charge input that allows you to charge it with other devices or, obviously from the wall. One of the things to think about with having one of these is, can you maintain it? And that has to do with keeping it charged. These will keep a charge for a long time, and they seem to operate very well in cold weather. But if you throw it in a glove box or under a seat or in a trunk and expect it to work in a couple of years, it might not. Heat can degrade these over time. They're spontaneous discharge, but overall they are fairly solid. Now I've got 3 different ones here to show you. The MiniMax is like the ultra basic. It's not a cheap one. It sells for around $60-70 on Amazon. Few tools, little bit of a light, USB in, USB out, and then it has some ports for the battery terminals, which I'll talk about in a sec. But anyway, small. You're not going to get a lot of charges with it, but it's highly affordable, and all you need is the one that works. Some of these are rated, like this one, I think, to 8 to 10 charges, something like, or 8 to 10 cycles, meaning you can actually try to start 8 to 10 different vehicles. That's generally not realistic. The vehicles, if they don't start, are going to need a bunch of extra help. It might be cold, adverse conditions, bad systems, cold, the engine's, really chilly, or as I've encountered with a lot of friends who I've helped them start their cars, they have every single accessory turned on and it won't start. If they have the defrost on high, that also means the AC compressor, plus they've got music, plus their headlights and everything else. This may not cut it. You're going to have to shut all of that stuff off before you can ever get the car to turn over. But anyway, this one, let's say $70. This one's around $100. This is like a classic. This is the one I recommend to people, the GB40. And works great. This is an older Snap On. I really like this. It's a funky design. I don't know who they hired to make this, but it's kind of weird. It's got a big bumper here, but nothing here. This is my second. I actually broke my first because it dropped. And then, here's the Milwaukee version. No, actually, I'm kidding. Milwaukee doesn't make one. I wish they did. It seems ridiculous. They don't have a little snap-on component that turns their great batteries into jumpers. I would buy one in a heartbeat, but they don't make one. Anyway, super simple, low power, works on every 4-cylinder engine I've tried this on, and a few 6-cylinder engines I've used it on, and it worked just fine. It's at the very bottom, and you can tell things are just turning over at the minimum. This one's real solid up to, at least 6 cylinders. This will pump out 4 cylinders, diesels. Now there's a size difference, and the size difference has to do with both the output, say how many cylinders it can crank, but also how many times it can crank those cylinders. And it isn't that you're going to have to be starting 5 different cars. What it is let's say this sits and it discharges, or you use the light to hike out of the mountains or whatever, and then you have to boost your battery. So if you haven't the full charge inside this thing, that's like having already charged several vehicles. Well, if this one's running low, if I've only got, say, 2 lights instead of the 4, I may not be able to start my car. It's only half time, half power. This one at half power If I turn it on so you can see the lights right here, if that was the case, then you would probably still be able to turn over the car. This one here, Snap On, of course, in their original design, really overbuilt this thing. So it's got a digital readout, it's got USB charging, it's got engine start, it will actually check the engine, it'll give you reverse polarity indications, and if the battery is below 1.5 volts, it'll double check that you really want to do this. Of course you do, because you know you're stuck. Real solid kit. I noticed these went on sale a while ago from Snap On, and then I couldn't find them. I just looked on their website and I couldn't see it. What, you know, Snap On's selling now are the NOCOs, and they have NOCOs up to $2,000. Now these are, you know, not if you're running a used car lot and you're constantly going around charging or starting, you know, batteries that are sitting in the lot for quite a while. Instead, what you want to do, you know, is use these more for starting up cars on an irregular basis. If you want a regular basis, get a giant power pack, you know, with great big clamps and everything else. These are more emergencies. This one's a little bit more shop related. Should, you know, somebody come in with or the battery dies in your possession or whatever. But I've had this in sub-zero weather and it has actually worked. This one, same thing. This one I usually take a little bit better care of. All of these have padded cases that they ride in. Some of these stay in the house and then go with me when I head out. This one lives under a seat or in a glove box or console or something like that, and it's always performed. Another thing is, this was one of the reasons probably that this died. That this, I mean, not died like it stopped working, but died. It's not a very good design, and partially because you need to use a proprietary input right there in order to charge it. And to make sure I always had this, I wrote on it, and it's a pain in the butt. Bad design. I don't know why they weren't thinking. USB-C is where everyone should be. These two are USB micro. Another thing is the clamps. All the clamps, there are two things to think about. One is the length of the cables, and the other is the connector. There is sort of a standard connector. You can see this long one here of equal length is the Snap On, and it's about the same. You can see there's a little bit of difference on the inside, but the shape is about the same. This is the NOCO, and it's totally different, kind of on its own, but it still it's got a square one and a round one and then some connectors. I wish there was a total standard so you could easily switch back and forth. The MiniMax, you know, is for somebody who may not be as sophisticated. This is the total reach, about one battery length of being able to grab the terminals. And you notice these are offset, so there's less chance that they'll touch or that there'll be a short. That's because this doesn't have the same circuitry as this and this that pick up on things like that and straighten them out. The Snap-on one is equal and longer. And longer can be good because you may not have a place to set this, or you may want to keep it in view while you're doing something, say he's trying to start the car, etc. And they're pretty solid, good construction. These on the MiniMax, they're pretty cheap plastic, smaller jaws. You want to make sure it's wide enough that it can easily grab a post. And then on this NOCO, these are the heaviest. They are way heavy. They're just super serious, but they're fairly short. They only have to reach the post or post in a chunk of the engine or a side panel or something. But they're the beefiest, these NOCOs. And it's a good solid connection. They seem to be aware of it. Whether I can see why Snap-on discontinued this and is now co-branding or co-selling those NOCOs. Don't even bother looking around. You know, if you're really confused, just go get one of these. You can spend them in about $50 increments. you know, this, you can spend, I don't know, there's cheaper ones than this. This one comes in at about 100, 150. You can get a little bit more powerful one. Let's say you got a V8 or a big diesel truck or something. And you can go on up. Like I said, Snap On sells a $2,000 one of these. This was they had Snap On for a while, just had two. They had this guy, which was their portable, and then they had the big, probably lead acid liquid battery that you charged, you know, with a big plug in your house, and then you could wheel it around or carry it around. The big old school power packs. There are a handful of smaller ones than this MiniMax. The MiniMax is what I would consider the minimum. There are others that claim to, you know, start it through your cigarette lighter or whatever, but this, if you want it to work, you know, make a little bit of an investment. And to finish this off, what I wanted to show you is, this is a lens case covered with wax, ski wax there, but anyway, inside what I've got is Milwaukee's, this here is a XE60 M18 battery, with Milwaukee's USB converter. You have to keep it in the off position. It will spontaneously discharge if left in the on position, even if nothing's connected. But anyway, the way they've got this set up, it actually fits nicely into a lens pouch. And then what I can do is close it and zip it, and then still have, say, a phone charger. When I want to use it, I just open this, flick this to the on position, right there, and then I'll flick it off just to make sure I don't forget, and then zip it up, and I've got a charger, and it will charge numerous phones or iPads in this kit right here. So Milwaukee is reaching out to, you know, I think I've covered their USB chargers. This is their pack out that provides you both 120 USB-A and USB-C. It's a good solid unit, but where is their battery boost pack? And that's what I wish they would make, even more than a lawnmower. But anyway, as winter, you know, approaches, it'd be good to think about something like this. $100, a couple tanks of gas. You could have a great booster pack with light, with cell phone charger, and you could have one in all your vehicles. And don't think about, you know, what it's going to cost to get your car, you know, charged or towed or have somebody come and get you. Just get one of these, because it's going to be way more expensive later, or you're going to be in a bind. Worst case, you're spending the night somewhere. So having one of these can really save your bacon, more than, you know, so many other tools that you might have that you spent more money on. Anyway, with that, Doc out.